If you like this video, please rate, comment, share and subscribe. If you don't like it, please tell me why so that I can improve. When I say resurrection, I'm talking about two things really. I'm talking about the Christian concept of the resurrection, or a Christian concept of the resurrection. And I'm talking firstly about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and secondly of the resurrection of the body, i.e. the idea that everybody regains a physical form after their death at the same moment. Now, as far as theories of atonement are concerned, most theories of atonement that are adopted by most Christian faithful people involve the necessity of Jesus coming back from the dead physically and genuinely dying. There are some that don't. For example, my favourite moral influence theory doesn't require that. Whether it requires Christ to die or not is another question. Obviously, because I practice yoga, I'm aware that people can enter certain states which mean that they don't appear to be alive, and then they come back to life after a while, and they can be buried alive and so forth, and the pulse rate can go down and metabolic functions can appear to be very slow. However, my general attitude towards it is that if the resurrection is necessary, then it will have happened. I'm not saying that it did happen. All I'm saying is, if it needed to happen, then it would happen. There are cases of people coming back from the dead and of brain cells being cultured having been at room temperature more than 12 hours after death. So the idea of regeneration is actually feasible. Now, the second idea, which Paul, at least in the Bible, makes a very strong connection between the two, is that the idea that people will come back to life after their death. And this is the more problematic idea, in a way, because of the question of identity. The idea is that you're responsible for your sins. You either hand them over to Christ or you don't, as far as most theories of atonement and Christian anthropology are concerned. And then you are unconscious for a period of time, and then as the day of judgment comes, you come back to life. But you have a resurrection body, and the problem with that, of course, is that the actual physical matter of bodies is constantly recycling. So when a body is recreated, that isn't actually the same person. It doesn't appear to be the same person because they're physically completely different. They can't be made of the same matter because that matter will have passed through lots of different people throughout history. So they must be made of something else. So in a way, the idea of the resurrection is a little bit similar to transubstantiation, as in it seems to have a very different view of physics than the kind of physics that we understand it today. I do think it's possible to rescue it, and I also do think it's possible to imagine some form of resurrection. But the problem is that the person resurrected wouldn't then be responsible. There would just be somebody with a load of false memories who was created out of nowhere and who can't be held responsible for the sins of the previous person who happened to be identical to them. I think one way of solving it is to go with the the Platonic world of forms, as in the soul is the form of the person, and that form then becomes a sort of storage in the mind of God, and then from that form a new person is created, so you manage to guarantee continuity of identity with that. And another possibility is, because there is the idea of a cyberspace resurrection, that is, that people come back because they're recreated from their historical traces, and there is a virtual reality in which resurrection occurs, which is an idea which many singularitarians, for example, are fond of. If that is possible, we don't actually know what else is possible. I do think that it would be difficult to give identity there, and I think that the theory of mind, the mind-body problem, and various other things, questions of identity, are still problematic in that context, because how could that person be you, even if there is some computer eons in the future, or some other mechanism whereby an identical copy of you is recreated, because it isn't actually you. Now, I was going to go and talk about the theology of resurrection now, but seeing as I've ended up talking about that for such a long time, I'm just going to sit there, present you with those problems, and go away. So I'll see you tomorrow.